WTOL 11 News at 6. I'm Michael Sandlin. Thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday afternoon. Now, meteorologist John Birchfield is off today, but in his place we have a real treat. We got Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers in studio. Chris, with a cold turn in the weather tonight, is frost possible?
Yeah, for a few areas, a little bit of frost may briefly be possible. That is going to be mainly west and north of the Toledo Metro. Should be clear of that to the Toledo Metro and south. Not anticipating that to be anything widespread. Now, we're seeing the clearing skies that are taking place as we speak right now. Started out with a cloudy day. That breeze was a cool breeze today. And the clear skies tonight is going to usher in colder air as we do dip back into the upper 30s tonight. That's where we're going to head tonight. Mostly clear skies, cooler and crisp. The winds are going to go calm and down to 38 tonight. So they should avoid frost here in the Toledo Metro. A few degrees cooler than that. Could take us back into the mid-30s up across southern Michigan. How about your Sunday? It is looking clear to start the day. Bright and beautiful, but a cold start to the morning. So if you're out early Sunday, it's going to require the jackets and sweatshirts. We'll see highs will return well back into the mid-60s. So a mild, dry day, light winds and abundant sunshine as we go through your Sunday afternoon. We're going to warm right back toward 80 degrees Monday to Tuesday. I'll preview that and some storm chances on the horizon as we get to Tuesday afternoon and evening. More on that coming up. Back over to you, Michael.
All right, we'll see you then, Chris. New at 6. Take a look at this video from Danny's Cafe in Rossford. It shows several patrons and staff on the top left of the screen there coming to the aid of a woman who went into cardiac arrest inside the restaurant. The bar says it actually trained for this exact scenario just last week. And coming up at 11, we're headed to Rossford to hear from some of those patrons and staff who worked to save that woman's life. A Toledo man reached a plea deal in a murder case from last year. Eric Salmon pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter in the death of Joshua Anders in West Toledo last February. Police say the two had gotten into a fight, leading to Anders dying. Salmon, who was originally charged with murder and agreed to a deal with prosecutors for a 7-year prison sentence. The arraignment of Darnell Jones Ogletree was announced this week. The accused killer was indicted on a dozen charges connected to the murder of his daughter, Kimani Lateague. Those charges include aggravated murder, rape, and gross abuse of a corpse. Police believe Jones kidnapped Lateague, raped her, and then killed her, leaving her body inside an East Toledo home on Miami Street. Jones is scheduled to be arraigned in Lucas County Common Pleas Court next Wednesday. Youth crime at one West Toledo park is raising some concerns for community members. Trilby Park off of McGregor Lane just saw a shooting last week. And now West Toledo leaders are asking questions about prevention. Dominique O'Neill joins us in studio with more. So Dominique, you spoke to community leaders about possible solutions to this. What did they come up with?
Well, Michael, I met up with West Toledo community leader Mike Roby and City Councilwoman Sir Sandra McPherson, and they tell me there's been 4 shootings in this park since COVID, and they say it's 4 too many. They tell me there needs to be an emphasis on parents monitoring their kids' activities, believing this could help prevent shootings like the one that happened recently. Roby and McPherson say the park board has been trying so hard to help stop the violence and just pay for a new security camera out of their own pocket to cover blind spots. But Roby says it's not enough. In fact, he says it's gotten worse. He says there needs to be a new strategy to reduce youth crime. This after dozens of kids were in that park when those 6 bullets were fired last Thursday. He gives his thoughts on what needs to be done to help prevent things like this from happening.
We need to just watch the park as a community. Go back. We need, if something's going on, we need to say something, definitely.
And coming up at 11, we hear from Councilwoman McPherson about what the city can do to address the problem of youth crime and also what parents and community members can do to help solve it as well. Reporting in studio, Dominique O'Neill, WTOL 11.
The Victory Center hosted their annual Survivor Art Showcase and unveiled a new memorial space. TVC cancer survivors have created expressive and powerful works of art, and today over 90 pieces are on display. This event also acts as a space to celebrate the strength and creativity of those impacted by cancer and a place to give and receive support.
We have a bunch of different mediums, styles, artists, and it's really just amazing to see all of the ways that our survivors use their creativity to get through their cancer journeys.
A dedication was held for a serenity garden and a newly paved memorial walkway, creating a peaceful space for reflection and remembrance. Pope Pope Francis was often referred to as the People's Pope, and today scores of people turned out in St. Peter's Square and the streets of Rome to say farewell to him. CBS News' Tony Leo was there and brings us the latest from the Vatican.
In a packed St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis was eulogized as, quote, a pope among the people with an open heart towards everyone. The Vatican says 250,000 attended the funeral mass. Florida native Kelsey Gussie, an American journalist living and working in Rome, was tapped to give the first reading at the funeral mass.
This is such a huge honor to be a part of this momentous occasion, and so honestly also for me it's a big way to say thank you to Pope Francis.
Following the funeral, tens of thousands lined the route to see the Pope's coffin carried through the streets of Rome to St. Mary Major, where Francis chose to be buried. It's a church he came to pray in often. Onlookers were visibly moved.
A momentous occasion, absolutely fabulous that I'm here, and one I can remember forever and ever, and I have goosebumps.
You're crying a little bit.
Yes, I'm crying. This triggers like a lot of emotion.
What was your feeling when the coffin of the Pope came by?
Thankfulness and a big blessing for the world.
Among the world's estimated 1.4 billion Catholics, many gathered at all hours to watch the funeral broadcast live, including in the Pope's native Argentina, which Francis never visited as Pope, but he's still revered there. Just before the funeral began, Ukrainian President Zelensky and President Trump met privately within St. Peter's to discuss Russia's war with Ukraine. With Pope Francis's funeral now over, a period of mourning has begun. The conclave in which eligible cardinals will gather in the Sistine Chapel to elect the next pope is expected to begin as early as May 6th. Tony Aiello, CBS News, Rome.
Pope Francis, at his request, became the first pope in more than 100 years to be buried outside of the Vatican. He also requested a very simple tomb. His tomb bears just one word on it, Franciscus. More details tonight on how the next pope will be chosen. This marks the third time in the last 20 years that the Catholic Church has initiated the process. Pope Benedict in 2005 and then Pope Francis in 2013. And in the next week, the process will play out again.
Most would say it is an intriguing process, and I think most would say, arguably, that the Holy Father, the successor of St. Peter, is arguably the preeminent religious leader in the whole world. And, that's not because there's some kind of pride factor going on.
Right.
It's simply the reality that he's the head of, of a church that is so massive throughout the entire world.
It's a fascinating conversation about religion, the papacy, and the process. And you can watch it this weekend on Leading Edge. That's Sunday morning at 8:30. If you've ever needed help from a federal agency or just wanted to voice a concern to your senator, it just got a little easier here in Toledo. Senator John Husted has opened a new office downtown inside the Ohio building on Madison Avenue. It's one of 4 new offices around the state aimed at making it easier for folks to connect with his team, whether you're dealing with paperwork, applying to a service academy, or just looking for answers. The Rotary Clubs of Northwest Ohio usually have a yearly conference, but this year they decided to give back. 18 Rotary Clubs throughout Northwest Ohio gathered at Middle Grounds to participate in activities that give back to their community. Stations include revitalizing the riverbank, building 5 playhouses through Habitat for Humanity, and assembling tie blankets for foster kids. The district governor decided to cut the district into quadrants, giving each quadrant $10,000 to do what they will with it instead of their yearly conference.
I'm so proud of Rotary and what it does. We are a social and a service organization. There's a lot of socialization taking place, and it was their decision to spend their money to do service to the community.
Each quadrant shows a different day of service with the money. After several months of being open, Ruby Cat's Cafe is finally celebrating their opening with a ribbon cutting. Ruby Cat's Cafe is a nonprofit that opened back in January, and the founders were waiting to celebrate after a few things fell into place. Today was finally the day, with a ribbon cutting and a block party following. Since their soft opening in January, 28 cats have been adopted, and their goal is to continue having visitors meeting the adoptable cats at the cafe.
So we're just going to keep on doing that and hopefully make a big impact in the community with helping there to not be any cats without homes. In addition to that, we're going to keep trying to engage here and be a part of what's happening in downtown Toledo, which is also really exciting.
The cafe is open on Thursdays through Sunday, and reservations are encouraged. Today is National Drug Take-Back Day, and collection sites could be found throughout Northwest Ohio. Locations like Kroger and police stations offered a place to drive up to and dispose of unused or expired medications. Collection sites accepted narcotics, over-the-counter medication, prescriptions, and even pet medication. There are items these collection sites won't accept, like inhalers, ointments, or lotions. It's important to dispose of these medications properly, and if you missed today's Take-Back event, visit our website under the Links Mentioned tab for a drug disposal guideline.
Heads up, it's going to get cold tonight. Could actually get a few areas of patchy frost, especially west and north of the Toledo Metro. When we warm right back up with 80 degrees in sight, I'll preview that coming up next. Well, the big weather impact for today is how much it's changed just over the past 24 hours from the really warm weather just about 24 hours ago to that cooler, brisk breeze. But now some of that sunshine returning back into the area. Look at the beautiful skies we have over Toledo. North wind, I know you felt that through the course of the morning into the afternoon. Perhaps put a little bit of a shiver into that step outdoors. 57 degrees is where we are now. Drier air continues to push in, and that is going to factor into the forecast tonight. And you can take a look in the hour-by-hour breakdown with clearing skies tonight. We're going to zip back into the 40s and eventually upper 30s by the time you get out the door Sunday morning. If you're an early riser, it is going to be a chilly start to the day. Current ratings now anywhere from the mid to upper 50s to right around 60 off to the south and to the west. Overall, it's a chilly feeling late April day, especially with that cooler northerly wind. We have dry weather across the area now. Frost advisories are in effect north and west of the Toledo Metro. That is Hillsdale and Lenawee County, up into parts of lower Michigan. Not expecting that to be anything widespread, but it is going to be a cold start to the morning. Great ideal conditions for the runners for the marathon and half marathon, the Mercy Health Glass City Marathon tomorrow morning. It is going to be a cool start to the morning. Clear skies, upper 30s. This is ideal conditions for those that are looking to make a good time tomorrow. 50 degrees by 10 a.m., upper 50s to near 60 by early afternoon. So a gorgeous looking day with low humidity. Still got that cooler wind tonight. That breeze is going to go very light overnight, back into the upper 30s. Highs on Sunday, right back to the mid to upper 60s. It is going to be a bright, beautiful day. Lots of sunshine and dry conditions on Sunday. Monday will start close to 40 degrees, but we crank that heat and humidity up, surging toward 80 by the time we reach Monday afternoon. And the heat and humidity are going to be back on Monday. More humid feeling weather. It's going to rise into the area Monday into Tuesday, and that's going to fuel our next chance of storms that will be showing up. Now, still a little early for the details, but there is a risk of some strong to severe storms. This will be Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. 29th of April will be the next chance that we will get storms into the area, so have close eyes on that. Tonight will be mostly clear, colder and crisp, down to 38 overnight tonight, a degree or two cooler than that north and west of Toledo. Bright skies and sunshine stretch right through our Sunday afternoon, and we're going to reach toward the mid-60s as we go through the afternoon hours. 10-day forecast, 66 the high on Sunday. We jump to 80 on Monday, 84 the high on Tuesday. Scattered storms are becoming more likely Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. And there is a risk of strong to severe storms possible on Tuesday. We plummet back into the 60s Wednesday into Thursday. Some additional rain chances Thursday into Friday. And we'll stay cool to start the first weekend in May, where more frost may be possible next weekend on Saturday and Sunday morning. That's a look at your 10-day forecast. Michael, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Runners are getting ready to hit the pavement this weekend at the Mercy Health Glass City Marathon, which means drivers should be ready for road closures. Closures in West Toledo, Ottawa Hills, and Sylvania will be in place this weekend. Some closures will start as early as 4 tomorrow morning and continue until 11:30 a.m. The closures will follow a rolling pattern, so as the last participant passes, the streets will reopen. College campuses from all across the country gathered together for a competitive game of table tennis. The University of Toledo partnered with the nonprofit organization Juice House to host their third table tennis convention. Competitions featured singles, doubles, and even pickleball games. UT's Director of Recreational Services says the competition gets bigger every year, and the goal is to keep people busy and engaged while having fun.
Competition, it really doesn't matter what it is. You can always find a level of intensity regardless of what you're doing. Nobody likes to lose, and so I'm anticipating some highly competitive games today, but the major thing that we want everybody to take away is just to have some fun.
Juice House has a goal of fostering a healthy social ecology on college campuses and hopes to continue to host more events like this one in the future. Now let's get things over to our resident pickleball specialist, Biz Bachman.
I love a good, healthy social ecology. Anyway, when we return, we have the latest on the NFL draft, where some of the Michigan and Ohio State players got drafted, plus hear who the Browns and Lions drafted. Those stories and more coming up next in sports. Sports brought to you by Jim White Honda. Welcome back. Saturday is the final day of the NFL draft. It's rounds 4 through 7 now. We had plenty of guys from Ohio State and Michigan hear their names called. Plus, the Browns and Lions made some noise with their picks. Starting with Ohio State, the Buckeyes had 6 guys drafted just today. Linebacker Cody Simon got drafted in the 4th round by the Arizona Cardinals. Safety Lathan Ransom is headed to the Carolina Panthers. And 1 pick later, Jack Sawyer got his name called by the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the 5th round, D-tackle Ty Hamilton is headed to the LA Rams. DB Jordan Hancock is headed to the Buffalo Bills. And Denzel Burke is going to the Arizona Cardinals. In the 6th round, quarterback Will Howard was also drafted by the Steelers. The Buckeyes have had 14 guys drafted this year. That is more than Michigan had last year after also winning the national championship. And speaking of the Wolverines, the team has had 2 guys drafted so far today. In the 6th round, running back Khalil Mullings was picked by the Tennessee Titans. Then, 3 picks later, the Philadelphia Eagles picked lineman Miles Hinton. Michigan has had 7 guys drafted this year. Meanwhile, for our NFL teams, the Browns and the Lions, they picked a few notable names, starting in the 5th round where Cleveland drafted quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Sanders had possibly one of the biggest falls in NFL draft history, with some predicting he would be a top 10 pick, but instead he fell to the final day of the draft and could be in a quarterback room with Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and or Dylan Gabriel. Finally, for the Lions, much quieter draft, going with lineman Kyle Frazier in the 5th round and edge rusher Ahmad Hassanin in the 6th. And finally, the Cavs and Heat played Game 3 of their first-round playoff series, and Cleveland got the win 124-87. The Cavs now lead the series 3-0. They have a chance to sweep with a Game 4 win on Monday, and that'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
We're counting down the days until we kick off the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway campaign. We're now just 5 days away from your chance to win this year's home, and this year it's in Perrysburg and is once again being built by Buckeye Real Estate Group. When you reserve your ticket, you're also getting a chance to win a 2025 Honda Civic LX from Jim White Honda. Tickets are $100 and are available starting next Thursday, May 1st. The money raised will then go to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, which provides free care to children facing life-threatening diseases. And check this out. Stadiums across the nation are prepping for Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter Tour starting next week. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood is getting ready to welcome fans and host Beyoncé as they are her very first stop. She'll be performing there for 5 nights. Programming and booking staff for SoFi say they are thrilled and so excited to welcome back the cultural icon and trailblazer. Nancy Drew fans celebrated a pretty big milestone at the Toledo Main Library. It's been 95 years since the famous teen detective came into the pages of our lives. Visitors explored a special reception in the Children's Library with the Jennifer Fisher Nancy Drew collection. The original author of the series, Mildred Benson, was also honored. She spent much of her life right here in Toledo. I don't know if you were much of a Nancy Drew fan, guys.
I was Hardy Boys.
Yes, I was big Hardy Boys as a kid.
Big Hardy Boys. So read the whole series probably a couple times and passed them down to the kids as well.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
My daughter a little bit with the Nancy Drew.
Well, here's a mystery we want to solve. What's final weather going to look like?
Good one. We've got sunshine that's going to be out the rest of the evening. It's clear, cold tomorrow morning, upper 30s. So a cold start to the day. A little patchy frost north and west of the Toledo Metro. Sunshine stretches straight through the afternoon. And that is a perfect looking Sunday. Great morning to be out there for the walk or run at the Glass City Marathon.
That's right. So to everybody going out there tomorrow, good luck. And good luck to our John Birchfield. We'll see you.